The views on this podcast belong solely to the hosts and guests. They do not represent the official positions of Teamsters Local 222 or the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. All opinions shared are protected under the National Labor Relations Act. This podcast is produced for entertainment and educational purposes only. Any reference to products, companies, or services is made for discussion or context and should not be interpreted as an endorsement or paid sponsorship. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as legal advice.
Our bylaws dictate what our officers do. Our bylaws are the governing body of our hall, and the members have the power to dictate what our bylaws say. Mm-hmm. So it really is power to the members. If we want to change it, if we want some power shifted with responsibilities, or we want something to be ran different, Article 28 is how we amend a bylaw, mm-hmm. and that's our responsibility as members. My name is John, candidate for VP for our local union this election cycle. Be sure and vote however you want to vote, but make an informed decision. And we're joined with Bryn.
Hello.
Part-time day sort, UPS.
Yep. Part-time at the Lake Utah hub.
And then Tony Winters, longtime UPSer, feeder driver. How long you been with UPS?
I think I just hit my 23rd year.
23rd.
September
Nice.
3rd, I believe.
Right on. Cool. And then you've been with UPS for how long?
5 years.
5 years?
5.5.
So you're officially vested.
I'm officially vested.
That's
I just
awesome.
talked to the pension people.
Cool.
And they said I can retire at 52.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's way cool.
Wow, that's even with the Pure 84?
Yeah, with the Pure 84.
Well, once you get a combo, they'll knock some years off.
True. Well, then I could retire at 50.
Yes.
Pull that up a little bit closer. Yours. Okay. Oh, you said when at the last meeting that you got this job just because you wanted a union job. And
Yeah.
I've known you in a very short time, but you seem very impressive, first of all, but very dedicated, involved union member.
Yeah. No, I love unions. I don't know why I love union. Well, because they just make sense and they're like democratic, or they should be democratic. But yeah, I was not planning on like going to UPS. But then when I was in college, I met some folks, one guy who worked at UPS and knew a lot of Teamsters. And so I was just hearing about like the labor movement and the labor movement specifically with the Teamsters. And I knew somebody that had been in Teamsters for a Democratic Union. So I wasn't just learning about like the Teamsters, but also about reform movements happening in the Teamsters. And I just thought that like whatever union it is, but just joining a union, like getting a job to be in a union is like what I wanted to do. And I also think it's like, if you're looking at the world right now and you're like, where do I find democracy in the world? I think the first place you can start is like at your workplace.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I
was hired at UPS. My hire date was my 17th birthday.
Nice.
August 21st, 2000. I had like heard of unions.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until much later on that I really realized the value of them and what they meant for me. And then, going full time after about 6 years and then getting married and having a family and the benefit package that came along with it. And then getting in trouble and needing representation.
Yeah.
And then also finally ascending to that beautiful top rate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Top rate. Yeah.
Finally do that. And you're making what, $10, $15 more an hour. It's amazing.
I started at UPS for $8.50 an hour part-time.
Same
It wasn't a lot of money. $8.50 an hour, like 4 hours a day. Yeah, just pizza and gas money really is all I needed at that time. But
we've come a long way.
Yeah, for
We've
sure.
come a long way.
So Tony and I are feeders. We talk a lot. The feeder drivers talk a lot. What are some of the issues you see in your department and shift?
Yeah. So I'm a part-time UPSer, which means because I learned a lot about UPS in the last contract campaign. That was probably the most exciting like point in the last 5 years for me. Like just being a Teamster was like participating in the contract campaign.
Mhm.
But one thing that hopefully the whole country learned is that actually like at least 50%, but maybe even closer to 60% of UPS workers, they are part-time workers. But the other thing that is also reality is that our part-time turns over so quickly. And like I've only been there 5 years and I'm already like almost at the top of my seniority list
No kidding.
in my area, which is cool. But I'm also like, wow, it's very much a change in those 5 years. Like a lot of we just don't have, like we have some part-timers that have been there a long time. Like somebody in my area has been there like 20 years. But most part-timers are coming and going. Even my thought right now is that like, at least in this state, like in this local, that we have a lot of part-timers who are paying dues, but I don't know if they know that they are in a union necessarily, or that they know that they are Teamsters and they know what that means.
Do you think what percentage of part-timers do pay dues? Is it a high percentage?
I'm not sure what percentage pay dues. I think it is fairly high. And one thing actually that wasn't happening, like when I started 5 years ago and I went to my cornerstone training, so just like the classroom training that UPS does, we didn't hear anything about the union in that training.
That has to change.
Yeah,
That really does.
And that actually has been changing. So that was actually one of the things that I first started like bugging people about at union meetings, was the fact that there was apparently supposed to be somebody at every cornerstone training saying, hey, I'm a steward, you should join the union, here's how to sign up. And that wasn't happening.
And the union absolutely has a right to join those cornerstone meetings.
Yeah. So after I bugged like the e-board about it at the membership meeting, I did see that start to change. Like they did start sending in stewards at all those meetings, because I was like, this is like, I mean,
that's the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah, exactly. Lowest
Possibly
hanging
even
fruit.
do to organize those people.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess as a part-time UPS worker and somebody who's started out, I'm still working in Unload South. So like there's a lot of different jobs you can have.
I don't even know what
hub.
this stuff means anymore.
I know. Basically, when you're very first hired,
it used to be unload A or B.
Okay, yeah. The new hires usually get put in load or unload, and that's also kind of the most like, that's where a lot of the manual, I mean, it's all manual work, but that's where like the really hard work is. And that makes sense why they'd put like the usually younger new hires there. I'm still in that spot. I think I'm going to try to move to a different position. So I've been around like a lot of new hires over the past 5 years. And it just it's hard, especially when you make progress with somebody, like you're talking to somebody and they're excited about the union and they've signed up. And then like, a lot of people come into this job and they don't see it as like a long-term job. And yeah. And so,
well, it's taken a long time.
Yeah. And the conditions, like, even though we have a union, when I started out, I kind of envisioned the union as like a suit of armor. Like I'm in the union. And so I walk in there and I am protected. What I found is that the union is a sword and a shield, and it's not going to help you if you don't pick it up and actually wield it. And
and that's actually an incredible metaphor, because the members are the union. You have to carry your sword.
Exactly.
You have to train your fellow soldiers how to fight with that sword.
Yeah.
And
I think one problem is that there is not so much of that fight happening on the ground, like on the shop floor. And part of that is because there's so many new people, but also it's just not happening. And so the new people aren't getting invested in the union, because the union, quote unquote, is being seen as like, the stewards are the union hall's the union, the staffers are the union, and not like, no, you are the union, you and your coworkers are the union, and you can actually do union stuff here on the floor,
And that brings us to our complete lack of internal organizing, because I mean, there's strategic campaigns that you can do on the shop floor in order to create a strong network between all of those people. And I believe we severely lack that.
Yeah.
I was a little behind the scenes. I'm currently editing another podcast, Taylor's interview, and I think he was addressing a rumor that he's hell bent on power, and he wants to just go in there and take over or do whatever, or he's in it for the title. But he kind of eloquently says that our bylaws dictate what our officers do. Our bylaws are the governing body of our hall, and the members have the power to dictate what our bylaws say. Mm-hmm. So it really is power to the members. If we want to change it, if we want some power shifted with responsibilities, or we want something to be ran different, Article 28 is how we amend a bylaw, and that's our responsibility as members. So the power is checked by the members in our bylaws.
And Bryn knows firsthand right about those motions by the bylaw amendments that you put forth.
I know, which is kind of sad because I like the whole bylaws thing within our local, like in the past couple months. There were I think there were two sets of people, like me being one of those sets, and then new 222 slate that were wanting to put forward very similar things, but we hadn't met each other yet. So we were being played against each other because there was a situation where there was the bylaws, there was the first every 3-year steward, a vote for a steward every 3 years bylaw, steward election, which I had some. And I know this is going to sound annoying because this is what
it's okay to have reservations,
say. But I was I like the spirit of this amendment, and I don't think it's going to work how people are saying it's going to work. And then when I was approached by somebody who was in the e-board to do a different amendment, because he was like, "What do you think about this amendment?" So I said what I just said. I like the spirit. I don't think it will exactly do what it's going to do. I think we should have a recall process.
I liked your amendment a lot.
Yeah, which is why I'm like, oh, if we had known each other before, then we could have worked together earlier. But basically, when this e-board member, when Carlos Vasquez was like, I want you to do this other amendment, I knew what he was asking because it was one meeting until the vote, and he wanted me to put forth the recall amendment so that it would be put forward before we do the vote for the election amendment. And he wanted to use the recall amendment to bring down the election amendment, and then also just bring down the election or the recall amendment. And what happened is exactly that. None of the amendments passed. Neither of the amendments passed. Which this is what politicking is, and this is what politicking is with people who want to hang on to power.
Well, you just continue, rise up from the ashes like a phoenix, and just start it again.
Yeah. Because and I think I'm glad how it all turned out, because I met the people who were doing the original elections amendment, and now I'm talking to you guys, and
right.
yeah.
I mean, all of it's membership oriented when it comes down to it. We just want change so that the members have more power in order to hold people accountable that they don't believe are acting in their best faith.
Yeah.
What I realized after the last meeting with the motion for debate, even if we had the membership split 50-50, the e-board and the BAs typically all vote in one block. So it kind of offsets. But if we had 3,000 members in a meeting, if you're a powerhouse union member, I wasn't anywhere near where you were in my first 5 years, maybe not even today, but very impressive.
I've already told Bryn I'm absolutely jealous because at the same age, I had a young child, married and everything, and to be involved in the labor movement, that tangent kind of robs from what you're able to do so that you don't get hyper focused on this. And I'm amazed at what Bryn's able to do in just your intense motivation that just doesn't die.
Thanks. I mean, there's still so many things I want to do. Yeah, sure. I did an amendment, and not just myself. I had a friend's help, who's now in a different union, which is sad, but he's still in a union, so that's great. But okay, I lost my train of thought. Just a second. Okay, yeah. So we did an amendment, and we did the amendment process, but I was only able to get like one of my coworkers out to the meeting, and that like above and beyond the amendment itself getting passed, like that's really what I'm fighting for, is like trying to get more people involved, because like right now, like barely anybody is involved. Like I probably less than 1% of our union goes
I'm
to
guilty of this
meetings.
too, but we just get in a mode where we just want to bitch and moan.
Yeah.
And then that's where our activity stops.
Yeah.
But apathy, it's cancerous.
But one thing that was a victory for me, like I guess for me, again, there was the amendment. Did the amendment pass or not? The amendment didn't pass. But my other measure of success was, did I bring anybody out to the meeting? And I only brought one person out, but that person was somebody who's been like working at UPS for like 20 years, and that was his first time at a meeting.
Oh.
So for me, like that's like
cool.
a small success, but it's like, you know, at least I got somebody out to a meeting that wasn't a boring meeting, because we had all the amendment debate.
They've been pretty exciting lately.
Yeah. So that's
how it happens. That's how it grows, because maybe that something sparks in that 20-year employee.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm motivated now more than ever. I mean, I was a shop steward part-time in combo. I was pretty involved. And then I went package, and I was asked by Corey Haslam at the time if I wanted to be a shop steward for package.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't know anything about package car. I couldn't possibly confidently defend these guys. So I just declined. And I kind of wanted an excuse not to be a shop steward anymore at that time. Because my frustration was, as a shop steward, you kind of have to weed through. Being a good shop steward, sometimes you have to tell a member, here's what you should do to correct this problem.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you should show up on time to work.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing in the contract that says you can't show up on time to work.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you got to tell them what's best for them, even if it's not what they want to hear. But they would come with me with what they thought was a grievance, and we'd just pull up the contract and say, I don't think you have a grievance here.
Mm-hmm.
But when the members would bring me something, and I think you have a clear violation here, I would file on it, and then the union would say that has no merit.
Yeah. Well, and I would say,
man, I try so hard to weed through it to give you ones that I want backup on, and then there was no backup even back then.
Something that I'm trying to do, and that I still have trouble with, is like I used to say when I meant the union e-board or the union staffers, I would just say the union, because you're right, the union is me and you and all our coworkers. So like the union didn't say no to you, the staffers said no to you. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an important distinction.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, I think like I've watched my partner be a shop steward for a couple of years now, and I think it should be totally fine for people to take breaks from being a shop steward, or just not want to be a shop steward their whole career, because it is really hard.
It is.
And it's really taxing. And I think that one thing that I wish that our local union did provide more for stewards was more training, but also being more clear when they're asking for stewards that this is a job. Like it's not just like you're being like a shop floor lawyer. You're also being like a shop floor social worker, and you're helping people manage their emotions. And that actually is a totally different skill set from like lawyer mode, but you had to be proficient in both. And I feel
that
like
would be an excellent topic in training as well. Not just contractual training, but
like de-escalation skills,
right?
Like talking, like literally just how do you talk to somebody who's super upset, and probably some of that upsettingness is going to get pushed on you. And how do you like take that and like, again, like we're not telling people to get rid of their anger. We're saying use this anger to fight the boss in a constructive way.
Right. And don't get fired.
And that's not always what stewardship is. I've been in some real wild situations that have happened at work that have bridged across, and we didn't know if people were going to get fired or not. But it's pretty much right along those skills that you didn't know if certain things were going to lead to escalation, violence at work, just depending on what that is. So being able to have those skills when somebody reaches out to you, that's extremely of value.
Yeah, because literally, like when you have a problem at work to the point where you're going to a steward, you have probably already been wronged by the company or by your supervisors. So of course you're upset. So that means that the vast majority of people going to stewards are in just like a state of like being upset. And like, yeah, I think there should just be a little bit more focus on education and just even, or just support. Like
Yes, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that being a shop steward is hard enough, but doing it alone is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
So if you had that network and constant training and communication, but even maybe on the spot support, I know there's a little bit of it, but to really expand that idea, I would like to see at least monthly, potentially bi-monthly, even a part-time shop steward mingling with the package and a feeder shop steward, because that feeder guy's probably been around quite some time, and he's probably been a package car driver, and he's probably been part-time or a combo or some combination thereof. And there might be, like, if you were a shop steward, and you might even know some stuff that a feeder shop steward may not know, but the power of the group, just really bringing that together.
Yeah.
And then another thing I would like to do, well, this would be more business agents, but cross-training business agents, where an ABF business agent sits in on a shop steward, a UPS shop steward business agent meeting, and gets a little cross-trained there.
Yeah, you never know when one of the business agents is suddenly going to have to go on disability or something.
Absolutely.
So having somebody immediately able to take on that is probably important too. And I don't think we have that right now.
I don't think so either.
I think pretty much all of them, I've gotten it from a number of them, I just stay in my lane. And so if that happens and all of a sudden, you're sidelined for some reason, there's going to be a huge void there. And I don't know what kind of liability that could eventually put on the local.
It's a really poor mentality from a business agent. I just stay in my lane. I'll just do my own thing, essentially.
Because you can be cross-trained and stay in your own lane. Like when you're cross-trained,
right?
Like that doesn't mean that now suddenly, like, you have your hand in everybody else's pie. It means now you are able to take up the reins if needed. Which
right.
is,
you just got a better set of tires for your lane.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to switch lanes.
Yeah.
Real quick.
And then with the change with the DOL, NLRB, and everything that we're seeing, we don't know how the NLRA is even going to be applied to anything. So if you suddenly end up with something different that way, your white papers might be completely modified on what you can and can't enforce. And the same thing, because we're fortunate that we have this master agreement that is very, very broad in protections.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it seems like the way that our local leadership is functioning now is that there's like a lot of reliance on like winning in the legal realm. And I'm saying like the legal realm as opposed to like, if you go on strike and you win, I'm saying that's like outside of the legal realm. Like you can do it legally, but I'm saying it's not like in like the courtroom with all the lawyers, right? And like I think like the whole point of being a labor union is that we have our own power, and our own, and our power is connected to the fact that we go to work and that we can
our contract,
not go to work.
Our contract is a legal document.
Yeah, but
just shop for victory. That's absolutely valid too, because that's the same thing with the internal organizing, is being able to run those campaigns within the area of just being able to strategize and make it just a more powerful unit. Yeah. And we have not had that, I don't think, for years. The same thing is Bryn sitting there and getting somebody that's been there for 20 years to finally show up. That's moving that muscle. And we need to get those muscles moving again to completely fight this atrophy.
Yeah. It's that, I don't know, I think in pictures, but I'm thinking of like, if you have that really strong core and you fight that, then you can build that out.
Exactly.
Every time. If we're fighting all these proxy kind of issues, but we don't have the fundamental core of who we are as a union, those are beneficial and we should be doing that, but we need to be at our core level a strong union.
Yeah.
And it's the membership.
Yeah. And I think the way like we don't have to reinvent the wheel on how we do this, right? Like unions were doing this. Like I've been looking back in history a lot and looking at like the old CIO unions, like in the 20s and 30s, and the stuff that they were doing back when like unions were literally illegal, right? So they literally could not fight in the legal realm, but so many victories, like big victories, like 8-hour day victories, right? Like stuff like that. Even the fact that the NLRB is a thing, like that was won while unions were illegal. And what did they do? They did little acts of solidarity, like little, I call them structure tests. I'm not the only one that calls them structure tests, but basically like, all right, every 5 years, at least at UPS, we have a contract. That means every 5 years we have like a specific process where we can fight to have better conditions on the shop floor. You only win what you fight for, right? If our biggest tool is the strike, in my thinking, whether we go on strike or not, every single time we come to a contract year, we should be ready to go on strike. How do we get ready to go on strike? You spend the 5 years in between doing little structure tests, right? Maybe that means, and this literally could be on the level of like, we're going to try to get everybody to come into work wearing the same t-shirt. Mm-hmm. That sounds like nothing. That sounds like nothing when you're looking at like UPS, but that's the kind of stuff that scares management, right?
You've got 200,000 people wearing the same shirt.
Right? No, for real. And even just at the level, like, can you imagine the pandemonium if if only day sort part-time UPS at our hub came in if 80% of people came wearing the same shirt, there would be absolute pandemonium. Because management has seen that actually all these stupid little part-timers can actually organize.
I like that. Maybe.
Right? And not just doing this once, these structure tests, these little things, you're doing this and you're escalating each time until you get to the biggest escalation, which is, if we need to, go on strike.
I mean, if you can get people to wear a shirt like that, it's in essence providing a strike vote already.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. It's
to all of those management. And they're like, oh boy.
Do they still do in the hub? We used to wear red Safety Fridays. Do they even do that? Is that a thing anymore?
Not at the big hub. I tried to do like a Teamster Tuesday thing, but the other thing is that like you gotta get buy-in, right? So if we're like, okay, I can sit here and say I want to do a structure test, but like, what is the buy-in to do that structure test? Because also, whenever you do a structure test, including a strike is just like your biggest structure test, there's going to be blowback. So like, how do you prepare people to deal with the blowback? Even if the blowback is just that management's going to be extra annoying the next day, right? But you have to prepare people for that, because then it's going to be like, well, like, what happened? Yeah.
Right. Well, we're talking about, and I've talked to you about this, but when we're talking about building strong structures of communication, I had this idea of, what up, Dom? You're live. You're not live, but we're recording. Welcome.
Hey.
A lead strong union member in every single area.
Yes.
That reported to a shop steward, that we could have a lead shop steward, and it's direct line of communications from officers through business agents and high training and education and support all the way down. I thought this was revolutionary, and then it was you who gave me the best practices business agent training manual. It's on fucking page 1. It actually says build strong communication networks.
Yeah.
If it was a book, I would have thrown it, but it was a PDF file on my phone. So I didn't throw it. I was so mad.
Yeah.
Like this is page 1 training manual for business agents.
But and this, like, when I was talking about the old CIO stuff, like, this is all this stuff that you're talking about is not new information, but it is information that has been stolen from us over the course of, like, the 1900s, where, like, of course, like the Taft-Hartley Act. The Taft-Hartley Act was actually like not great for unions, right? Because it put a lot of
restrictions.
Yeah, restrictions
on anything that we're able to do legally.
And businesses have just been stepping on our toes, like collectively,
corporate greed,
and all this stuff that you are like rediscovering, like, instead of that being able to be passed along through generations of organizers, that has been like ripped from us, And so I think, like, taking it back as being like, no, we're taking this back to use as the working class against the bosses.
That the status quo has just been used too long in order to have this semblance of labor peace.
Yeah.
Can we crack these open?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
liquid death.
I think we said it before, but I guess day 1, we established a tradition to have our guests bring us something to drink, and then just tell us, I guess, why you like it. And what does liquid death mean to you?
What does liquid death mean to me? I was like, Liquid Death, that's weird, but it's just sparkling water. I just like sodas that are fake sodas that don't have as much corn syrup in them.
Well, these are, what is it, sweetened with
I think
agave?
it's agave. Yeah. I really like the Liquid Death with root beer because I love root beer, but I don't like real root beer because it's too much sugar. But this is severed lime because they didn't have it, so that's fine.
I actually love these. I just recently switched to Topo Chico mineral water.
Nice.
I love those just because they come in a glass bottle, but love me some Liquid Death.
Ooh, I like this. Yeah. I also like Poppies. That was my second choice. I just like all the new fake sodas.
It's got the prebiotics. That's the Poppies, right?
I think they have the prebiotics. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife's obsessed with Ollipops, which those ones are quite different because they have substantially more dietary fiber for the prebiotic. I think Poppy had some issues.
Maybe that's what it was, the Ollies.
I think Ollipop is probably better. Yeah. But they have Poppies at Costco.
Bryn, what would you like what changes would you like seen in our hall, in our leadership, in our processes from shop stewards?
Yeah.
If you were, never, I'm not going to say that. Let's say if you were king, if you could get rid of the bylaws for one day, but we're not ever going to do that.
No, I think I hit your mic.
Well, we can just say, what do you think would be helpful in just a strategical change to just morph it?
Yeah.
Or what singular thing or what singular thing or things would you like would be the most impactful?
Yeah. So I think okay. So just to, like you said, getting back to basics, like getting back to like we need to build a shop steward structure, right? We need to build a structure of like getting membership or getting information to the membership. I think like if I could make one change, I would maybe hire a really good another organizer who's just there for internal organizing. And that doesn't mean that this person's going to do all the organizing, because that's not what staffers are there for. This person would facilitate what you're saying, right? We're gonna literally get a list, like for example in UPS, we're gonna get a list of everybody's name, right? First thing, are all these people like signed up paying dues? That might be the first thing. But just like you said, all right, where are our active members, right? We have a list of everybody's names. Where are active members? Oh, here are some active members. We got some active members in the Lake Utah hub.
And if those active members can bring one more person to a meeting.
Exactly. And
I think we call that charting.
Charting.
Correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So like literally just the basics of list work and charting. And so again, I'm not saying that this internal organizer is doing all the work. This person is also trying to get other people who are already working.
That's
like
in
at UPS.
The training manual as well. Don't take on everything by yourself.
Exactly. It's about delegating and finding the people who already have influence in their workplace, who are already like interested in doing stuff in the union. And yeah, just starting
keep talking.
Oh yeah. Starting with that one thing, like a great campaign to do would just be like, we're going to try to get everybody to pay dues. And then your next campaign is we're going to get everybody to wear a button to work. Right. And this is all just to like, because all these little structure tests, it's also about like bringing people together and seeing each other as coworkers that can do things together. Right.
Well, you look at the little things of it, rather than one person moving an entire mountain and get 200 people, and you're going to move all of that dirt a lot faster.
Right. I know that's really bad podcast form to walk off the set and grab your phone mid podcast, but I really wanted to hammer this home.
Yeah.
This is best practices for Teamster business agents and representatives. There's specifically a part. So let's just go over this. Have a plan. Number 2, build a structure. See that things get done, but don't do everything yourself. Show members how they can help themselves. Train stewards and active members to handle as much as possible. Explain to members how the union works and what it takes to win. Look for ways to make union activities attractive. Yeah. Are we doing any of that currently?
No, I don't think we're doing that. And I think part of it is that it seems like the business agents are doing a lot of things that in
their own lane.
In their own lane. It seems like the business agents are doing a lot of things that in like a more like participatory union and a union that's like a little bit more active that like stewards and members would be doing. And that takes the business agents away from doing the kind of like more facilitation stuff that I'm talking about.
Things that require leadership skills. Have them over that with a couple choice leaders under it, and then have them delegate additional. And I mean, we have that same problem. The grievance procedure outlined in the Western, that for the center level, they're supposed to be meeting with just the stewards with their local manager to try to resolve those to begin with.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're not doing that in nearly the capacity that they could to help free up the business agents' time to really get to the hard-hitting ones.
Yeah. Yeah, because we don't have a lot of steward involvement with our like even lower level grievances. But I guess something I'd also like to say about like, okay, like if I could, I would get a full-time internal organizer, right? At least one, because some unions have a lot of they have a lot of internal organizers because that's what you have to be doing all the time. You have to be doing internal organization. But I want to be clear that even if we don't have an internal organizer, everything I just said are things that members can do regardless.
Right.
Like if the staffers are not willing to help like facilitate that, and if that's not in their plan, membership can still do that and should still do that
with support and education.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it would be a lot easier to do it with support and education, but even without that support, the members can do it themselves. We can make those lists.
We can organize. We can support each other. We can organize.
Yeah. We can organize t-shirt days. We can organize button days. We can set up phone trees. It just would be a lot easier with that being facilitated from like the staffers and the leadership.
Yeah. You know what I see at UPS? I think our grievance procedure, in my opinion, is so broken and, dare I say, weak, that the company is so emboldened. And I know managers have told shop stewards just file the grievance, but I think our hall is so swamped, probably even with just UPS alone, but I can't imagine all the grievances are just so swamped that it weakens the entire process from top to bottom.
Yeah.
If we could, as members and shop stewards and business agents, handle this stuff in-house and take the things to panel that really need to go to panel and focus on these major changes instead of just fighting simple seniority violations all the time.
Yeah.
And or not even getting support on the floor. A shop steward doesn't seem to be able to handle it on the floor. So the member files.
Yeah.
I would like to.
And that's kind of really bad optics to me, because if they say grieve it, it's like they already know that there's not going to be a current understanding. So it's almost like they're just challenging you and saying, yeah, I might get my way. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this and escalate it with that.
What they should say is, please don't grieve that. I'll fix that right away.
Yeah.
If there was actual enforcement already in progress.
Yeah. Because also like what grievances do is they take whatever the problem was on the shop floor and they like add a lot of time to it and they add a lot of distance to it. And so like you might have a member or a group of members who's really upset about something, but the whole process of the grievance like just dilutes that anger. And like when you're so and like the inability, like we need to get to a place where we can fix our problems like with our coworkers' help on the shop floor. Right. And I'm that's something that I'm still trying to like figure out how to do, right? Because that also means usually you can't just do that by yourself. And that's why we have unions, is because you can't fight your boss by yourself. And and if you win, you're only going to win narrowly. If you want real wins, you have to fight with your coworkers.
Yes.
And so like getting coworkers to a place where like, and I know like, this is where I feel like staffers get upset or get scared, because it's like, you're talking about committing a ULP. No, like if there's a problem on the shop floor, walking in to clock in all together as a group, right? That's not breaking any rules, but that's a show of strength, right? That's like another one of the structure tests I was talking about. And like, that's the kind of stuff I'm trying to organize for. And that's like, that's even outside of the realm of a grievance, right? We haven't even gotten to the grievance part yet because we're still trying to just actually use our direct power with the boss, right? So I want to fix the grievance process, but I also think that, like, if our first thing is, oh, we need to grieve it, I think we're leaving a lot on the table.
I don't think those are mutually exclusive, though.
Yes,
what you're
exactly.
talking about is this problem helps this problem that helps this problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all circular, really.
Yeah.
And there's things that you can do to create solidarity in those kind of situations.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can tell you, if you're presenting a grievance, like on that initial level to the boss, you do it presenting it just as a singular steward with the member versus you bringing in 5 stewards
Mm-hmm.
with that member.
Or 5 members.
Exactly. Or even 5 members.
What about 1 steward and 5 members? Because all the 5 people have the same problem. I tried to do like group grievances, but then the process, not everybody in that group was in the meeting, and like the management and my business agent did not want that to happen. Now, well, I'm excited, and like whatever happens in the election, we all need to keep organizing, and we all need to keep organizing our coworkers, and literally, okay, something that I've learned, because when I started at UPS, I was kind of shy, and I was like, and also there's kind of like a culture. Maybe it's just at the new hub, but like people don't necessarily talk to each other a lot. Like you go your whole workday and not really talk to your coworkers. The key to organizing your coworkers is talking to them. So if you're like shy like me, you just have to get out of your box. You just have to start talking to your coworkers, because like the strength of the union lies in the strength of our relationship to our coworkers. Like
Absolutely.
That's it. Like if you don't know your coworker, then you necessarily don't trust them enough to go on strike, right?
Yeah.
So like just talk to your coworkers, and
it's part of the etymology of UNI, unity, one.
Yeah.
A union.
Yeah.
In uniform.
Yes.
And it doesn't help that building is purely built to divide you all from being able to talk to each other. I mean, between the sound, the way it looks on the unload doors, like back on the sort aisle, we did all kinds of stuff, and we were able to speak and talk and just completely
as long as you were working.
Yeah.
Talking was never a problem.
But it's impossible. The sort aisle doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
So everything's just divided. And I mean, with the irreg tugs that we used to have, you were able to make networks through the entire building the way those ran at the old facility on Parkway.
Yeah.
We don't have that anymore.
I think the automation, like, yeah, because I've been thinking about this a lot, because people talk about the old hub, and I think a lot of our current staffers for UPS come from the old hub, and so they're used to organizing the old hub. Seems like everybody was literally just geographically closer to each other. And with the new hub, automation spreads people apart, which makes sense because you automate and then you don't need as many people
in between.
So we are all spread apart. We are very spread apart. And
even the break room dynamic, we had 2 break areas in the old building.
And we have so many break
areas.
And
now look, you're all scattered.
They're like 10 by 8.
Exactly. So you got this little cluster here, this little cluster here, and they don't really intermingle.
Which does not, to be clear, again, this does not mean it's impossible, but it means that, like, I think it seems like schemes in the old hub may have come about a little bit more organically, but that just means we have to work harder.
I think that's
okay.
What we're doing right here, I think, is a movement, and I don't think it's going away, regardless of the election results this time. I haven't sat down and had a conversation with the part-timer in a decade, maybe. I've got a Geneva driver sitting off screen right now. I've never spoke to a Geneva driver before. I've actually become somewhat friends with some of the ABF guys.
Yeah.
The uniting and the coming together across all barns, that we are all Teamsters under Local 222.
Yeah.
I think is a really awesome movement.
Yeah.
And I think I know this started a while ago, but it was a very loud few that were deemed as heretics.
Trying to say something?
And, well, you've been a heretic for a long time, even before then. But, and I think those early loud voices will be vindicated very soon. But the movement that we've got going here, the momentum And I think it's just starting to pick up steam just now.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a culture where we care about each other and don't let each other fall through any cracks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the biggest problems is even when we have organized strikes, you get people within that area, within that barn that show up all because it is their wages. So there's extreme importance to them.
That's usually when people get involved. Wait, my money?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But if we get it so that we care about the person next to us, even if it's 2 barns over, show up for that,
right,
and they see that solidarity, they'll know not to screw with us nearly as badly.
Yeah, our brothers and sisters down in St. George, Cedar City, Ogden, Provo, Logan.
I mean, we need to make that union siblinghood something of more importance.
Yeah.
If we really want to display what unionism can be, rather than these semblances of business and corporate unionism.
Yeah.
And bring in these other barns, Geneva, all of them, Bimbo, T-Force, UTA.
Yeah.
All into the movement.
Because, I mean, yeah, no, and that's the thing is that when you have union leadership that's not really working for the membership, they start looking like bosses, and they start using the exact same tactics as bosses, and that means we can use the same tactics against them, right? And one of those is unity, because like even just like what you said about talking to a part-timer, I don't think the part-timers and the feeder drivers like understand each other, and like we don't talk to each other a lot, so we just see these people who like are sitting and making a lot of money. I know that's not what you guys do, but
yeah, you can have your opinions of us. I mean, I that's where I want to change and break this culture is so that you guys know that we're there for you if you're in a time of need.
Yeah, yeah, and
I keep interrupting you.
Yeah,
I would love for a part-timer to just see me in my Browns walking in or out and know that I'm a feeder driver and say, "Can I ask you something?" Like, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we should just us. We should all try to like, this is again the talking to each other, because we don't really, just like if you're walking into the hub, just say hi. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like there isn't even a culture sometimes of people just saying hi to each other, because we're just like walking past each other.
More broadly speaking, isn't that just kindness?
Yeah, and we are union siblings. Yeah.
But of course, at the same time, if there's that loud screaming building and I'm sitting here, I don't know what that's going to look like.
Oh, no, that's great.
Or if suddenly the optics are going to be this creepy guys waving at me.
Oh no, that's me. I don't think people think I'm creepy. Well, maybe they do.
Well, the feeder drivers to me when I was part-time were just all the old guys. And I'm one of them now, I suppose. Yeah.
Times definitely have changed.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Even if you are super selfish as a feeder driver and you just want a good contract as a feeder driver, and I just want a good contract as a part-timer, we're going to get better contracts for ourselves if we work together. Because if UPS can divide us along lines of drivers and inside workers, they've already won.
That really makes me wonder and think, because remember how when we first started, or at least it was up there, we had laundry service for our uniforms? The mechanics still do, but we used to have laundry service.
I think I barely remember that.
And so you think about that whole element. If we still changed our uniforms before we walked out, everybody would go through that guard shack in plain clothes as a Teamster.
Damn.
So makes me wonder, because once you leave the workplace back then, you're all looked at as equal.
Yeah.
One doesn't have a uniform versus the other.
That's interesting. You know what? That might be a good, maybe even try to start getting feeder drivers to change into plain clothes afterwards. And people might think it's stupid, but just bring that up and be like, hey, like the part-timers think we're weird and we do make a lot more money from them, and maybe we should just,
or even something even something small, like a pin that you can wear off the clock because it's not part of your uniform.
You can wear it on the clock, dude.
It's protected.
True.
Yeah, you can and should. People don't like wearing pins on their Browns. That's something I heard, but that cultures can change.
But it makes me wonder. I mean, think of that. You even just remove your UPS shirt and put a Teamster shirt on to walk out. That's just a display right there of saying, you know what, I care enough to go up to the locker room, swap out my uniform, and walk out as a Teamster.
Yeah. And then
That's a cool idea.
I like this idea. I like how we're scheming now. But like, and then to make this into a structure test, right? You get a list of all the feeder drivers. You say, hey, we're going to start doing this. We're going to do it next Monday. You see who does it. You see who doesn't do it. The people who do, you talk to them and you bring them in. Like you're saying, like you bring everybody closer to that center. And then you talk to the people who don't do it. And it's like, hey, why, like, can you do this the next time? Like, why did that person not do it? Right? Did nobody talk to them? Did they not know what was happening? You know, like that's
and maybe
bullshit.
This is 100% my opinion, and maybe you guys can weigh in. But not only does the company intentionally separate us,
Mm-hmm.
I believe our union leaders do too.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I base that partially on our Union or Die page. You're not on social media?
I unfortunately still have
Don't do it.
Facebook because people will be like, "Did you see what happened on Union or Die?" And that's only why I have Facebook.
Facebook.
Just you need it for information almost, just to know it. I mean,
it's a tool. It's a tool for sure. You can build a house or hit yourself in the head with a hammer.
Yeah.
But the treatment of one of our feeder drivers by our president and the way he handled it was wrong. And he took it to the Union or Die, who's primarily inside employees. There's almost 800 members in that group, and it's primarily inside employees. But he presented it as, what should we do to this feeder driver? He shared some information he shouldn't have had. What should we do to him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, because he broke the rules of the group.
How should he atone in gratitude? What should his path to redemption be?
Mm-hmm.
Just think about that verbiage. And one of the options was, we should have him sign up 5 new members for every year of service he's worked at UPS. And he said, imagine making some feeder driver sign up 50 new members, LOL. Our business agent for the feeder department and the president of our union said, imagine making some feeder guy sign up new members to get back in this group to atone in
that's
gratitude.
Tribalism.
That is so divisive as the business agent for our department. So I believe we're divided on purpose.
And that only affirms what they kind of believe by proxy already. I mean, there's obviously the hierarchy of people feeling better and more mighty than the next person, but we're all trading time and labor for a wage.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all the same when it comes to that root cause.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess what I saw, like what I perceived as like different treatment to different people working at UPS was when in the contract campaign, one of the union business agents did like maybe a couple parking lot meetings, but they only did them for like the package car drivers, and like it seemed like they basically just did it for the drivers, maybe mostly package car, but package car and feeder.
Feeder or schedules jump around so much that there weren't even many of those involved.
Yeah, so I guess basically just package car, and I was like I tried to do some parking lot meetings mostly for part-timers because I thought we needed them, and that's what I'm saying about like, okay, you have 60% of the company of the workers are part-time. You're not even going to try to do like a parking lot meeting.
It's a huge force.
Yeah, and
you're a big voting block.
Well, and part of exactly, and part of the reason probably why it might even look like, oh, well, why should we bother with part-time because they turn over so much? But if you don't interact with part-time because they turn over so much, the turnover problem is going to continue to be worse because they're like, well, nobody's paying attention to us.
Absolutely.
So I think that like that problem, I think sometimes like union leaders maybe see like part-time as like, we don't have to deal with them as much because they're just going to be gone soon. But that is a self-fulfilling prophecy, I think.
Yeah. Bryn, do you have any last thoughts?
Yeah, because we've been going long. No, I'm excited. I'm excited for the election because I guess I've been a Teamster for one other election, but I don't remember it very well. Mm-hmm. So I'm just excited to kind of see how participation or just how it looks and being more involved. Even just being more involved in like thinking about, do I want this other slate? Do I want the current slate?
Yeah, just getting involved and filling out your election ballot in the mail.
Yeah.
And inform yourself and vote who you would like to vote for.
Yeah.
But vote.
Yep, exactly. And then pretty much all campaign promises typically have results either by new people winning or even by the existing, that those thoughts have been spoken, and typically there needs to be something reactionary to them.
Yeah.
In order to cater to the membership. And I think there's very important things that have been brought to light. And I think those will have some very strong changes no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Just saying this movement, I mean, admittedly, I wasn't familiar with our bylaws until a few years ago. I mean, it's happened. What we're talking about right now, this whole conversation is actually happening.
Yeah.
If you kind of pause and step back a little bit, the educating, the communications.
Yes.
We're doing it ourselves, damn it.
Yeah. No, that's exciting. I guess that is maybe the last thing I want to say is that like it is super exciting to see like more people participating in union life and just like being motivated to get to work, and also to see that like I've been seeing that with other unions. Like I'm in a group with other like rank and file folks from other unions, and it's not just happening in our local. It's happening like in Utah. And it's exciting.
I think we're doing some extreme things. And I mean, when you look at this and step back, it's probably the purest form of grassroots actually starting. Because I mean, all of us, we don't even have stewards here.
Yeah.
We're all rank and file members, and we're pushing ourselves up, getting ourselves out there, and we are creating something of value.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. Thank you for your time. Thanks for your thoughts. I'll see you guys around.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, thanks.